Marva Baguette, 1331 South Maple, also known as Morningside Country Estates, Sioux City, Iowa, 51106. I'm here this evening on behalf of the about 200 so far. I haven't gotten the petition yet, but we are working on a petition. The city buses. We are asking that the city would extend hours from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. For the reasons, we have several, but I'll just say right now from speaking to all the bus riders, and I've rode the bus for 3 years since I've been here from Des Moines, they would like to shop later. They'd like to pay bills later. Some of them just do not have cars. I have access to my car 3 days out of the week, but I have to ride the others because of the gas prices, et cetera. So we're humbly asking City Council to find a way to extend the bus service hours from, the last bus leaves downtown at 5:30. You have to be there for that. And we're just hopeful. We're not gonna stop asking until we see a change.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My real name is, let's see, who am I? African mother who gave birth to the human race. And I'm also 14, Brush Meadows, currently in jail. My fake pilgrim name is Daniel Tudor, and I was arrested for hugging a tree recently by the terrorist police. Even though the Pilgrim terrorist state of Iowa had no way to go forth to try to get a Black woman / Native Earth tree child found guilty, the charges still impacted my slave assignment / job. And I need reparations for that. I need reparations. I need my land back. I definitely need to have that peace of mind to not be accosted by the terrorist police. So anyway, Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, who's claiming to advocate to end the foster care to prison homeless pipeline through police terrorism, encouraged me to come up and talk to the city council, the Congress, and all y'all, so I'm going ahead and give it another try. Water is a right, and y'all need to make sure that's guaranteed. And I shouldn't have to waste energy or slave assignments on getting a water filter. And police terrorism, the police terrorists who were involved in arresting me for hugging a tree, talking to a tree, have yet to be jailed, have yet to be fined, and the prosecutor who was involved has yet to go to jail or be fined. We need to make that happen. And also, I have a sign here about police terrorism. I would like y'all to make a declaration of taking the homeless challenge, taking the bicycle challenge. And y'all have the encouragement to make sure that children's suffrage becomes a reality, because we need to evolve the voting age to 12, unbleached, decolonize. That is what we definitely have to do to stop forcing ourselves to be pilgrims, stop forcing ourselves to be assigned white. So I would like to encourage y'all to stop criminalizing homeless people who are landless. They're only homeless because they're landless. So who wants to take the homeless challenge? Can we raise our hands? 0? I think you should take the homeless challenge, the landless challenge, the being tasered and electrocuted by police terrorists challenge. By the way, my plunger stick still wasn't returned, stolen. The alcohol I had in 2 steel bottles was destroyed in front of me, still not returned. Not only that, but the fake bail money that was used to terrorize me, so I had to bail myself out for hugging a tree, that also wasn't yet to be returned. So, y'all never even addressed my question the last time I was here about police terrorism. What are y'all doing to end police terrorism? And the profit they make
Time's up, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, but what are y'all doing about police terrorism?
Thank you for your time. I'm not gonna do anything about police terrorism.
Nothing?
I'll be going, no. Your time's up, I'll answer it, and then your time's up, you don't get to talk anymore, okay? I'm gonna go to the forum on Wednesday night. I don't believe there's police terrorism. but we certainly ought to do, everything we can to make sure that all people are protected and that our police department acts in a professional manner, which I believe they do. And I appreciate your time and your comments, but your 3 minutes are up. There are other people that are here to speak, and they are going to get their time as well. So thank you.
Is the rest of the council going to answer
Again,
the question?
If you want to poll the council, please poll them after the meeting. You could have asked way before your 3 minutes were up.
I did. I said, can y'all please take the homeless challenge?
Okay, and I spoke for myself. If anybody else wants to, feel free to.
Mayor, I just wanted to correct the panel discussion, handling the hurt, unity in the community, is at 6 p.m. tomorrow night.
I'm sorry. Well, I've got it on my calendar.
Yeah, tomorrow night on at the Sioux City Public Museum, starting at 6 o'clock, for those who may be interested.
All right.
Thank you. Anyone else be heard?
That from 6 till 9.
6 to 8.
Yeah, 6 to 8.
Whenever, yeah.
Till 8.
Anyone else be heard?
Okay.
I don't know if they, yeah, somebody's got to go up and talk.
State your name and address, please.
My name is Dustin Ferguson. I live in Plymouth County.
We need an address, Plymouth County. We need an actual address if you have one.
Okay, 29724 320th Street.
Thank you. Now go ahead.
I just think we need to protect our rivers. Sioux City is at a big risk by itself because it's got the Floyd, the Big Sioux, and the Missouri. And if a pipeline goes under all that and breaks, Sioux City would be in very bad shape.
Okay.
We're trying to get a resolution passed so that the city would oppose the pipeline. We would welcome that very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Matki Up. Thank you, council members, for being here today. And I just do.
You state your name and address,
yes,
please.
My name is Manape Lemire, otherwise known as Akichita Hokshita. I'm a government representative of the Sioux Nation of Indians. My residency is within the Omaha Traditional Territories.
Okay.
I'm here to remind the council, over 160 years ago, War Eagle allowed the first immigrants to this land to reside here and to potentially grow their families and be allowed to prosper. You know, and there were treaties later made, and those treaties are made in good fellowship as allies. And I'm here to remind the council that we have an obligation to this land here. We have responsibilities to protect. And so today there's going to be a resolution that's going to be presented, and the whole focus of that is to help protect the water that we do have. And I humbly ask that our council members please do the research yourselves on the pipeline breaks that have been taking place over just in the last year, including in Canada. And I know within the last 2 months there's been 3 or 4 pipeline breaks, one in New Mexico where it was an actual explosion. Okay. And so I think that one of the things that Iowa needs to be really concerned about is the eminent domain that's being enforced upon your own citizens. I think that there should be a great concern about the corporate interests in your land. There's landowners that can't even walk on their own land that they possess and have possessed. And I know for a fact that my Indian relatives can understand that feeling. And so I hope that by the end of today there is going to be a meeting, or there is going to be a coming together of some people within the community that will address this issue. I'm more than happy to get with you guys and talk with you about the dynamics of this issue. because it's not, we hear about North Dakota, but we don't hear too much about what's going on the other side of Iowa. And Sioux City is directly affected. You have the Big Sioux, you have the Floyd, and you have the Missouri. And we're at the confluence of those things. You guys know that. But my concern is that what's going to happen when this does break? What is Sioux City's protocol? And if you don't have one, then we should probably start figuring that out, because it's going to happen. And I'm concerned about my other relatives in Hinton, and Lemire's, and Haywarden, upriver.
And I need to tell you 3 minutes are up, but I want to ask it a question just because I don't know the answer, okay?
Sure.
But I'm going to explain the ground rules so everybody knows. We don't allow carry-on resolutions in the council, okay? So even if you have a resolution, we can't vote on it. It doesn't matter if it was to, you're going to give us $1 million, we can't vote on that resolution today, okay? Just
Right.
because that's our rules. Is this pipeline going through the Standing Rock Reservation, or is it going on the edge of it? Because somebody told me today it's going on the edge, and I was under the impression it was going through.
Okay, to clarify, for the federally recognized reservation, it's going along the border.
Okay.
It is going through treaty territory, which is ceded land that rightfully belongs to the Sioux Nation of Indians, who I represent. And then that.
And the difference in that is, just for us that don't understand,
Okay.
is that you had, like in the Omaha, had a lot more land than what you have today. Winnebago had a lot more land than what they have today. So if it's in ceded land that comes for sale, then you have the right to buy it back. Is that the way I'm understanding?
That land could be given back. I mean, we wouldn't, if you're the landlord of a house, you wouldn't want to buy your land back.
Right.
So,
But don't the tribes have a right of first refusal on some of the land that's?
yeah, there's
Close.
like the Winters Doctrine, which is a water, a ruling by the Supreme Court that helps protect the water, and it's the Indians get first crack at water rights.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
My name is Jeanette Hopkins. I live at 617 Pierce, Unit 305. It's the Willigus Building. My husband and I previously resided at 2 Blackstone, the north side of the city. My understanding is this is kind of an opening, I guess, invitation or concern that will be shared with you. And I do hope, I hadn't planned on speaking, but I do hope that you will become a little bit more well-read on the issue at hand. Because in 2010, Governor Branstad, along with the ex-Governor Perry of Texas, began planning for the additional construction of the Bakken pipeline in the state of Iowa. And unbeknownst to many of us, and I guess an indication of this would be what little you do know about the pipeline, plans were made for this pipeline to go through. I spent Saturday in Calhoun County. I saw a 79-year-old grandmother on a family farm refused, well, actually, she was arrested on her land and sent to jail because of eminent domain. Now, my understanding, and you all are much more versed in this than I am, eminent domain has to do with public gain. It's also my understanding that this particular pipeline is for private gain. The entire time we were at 5 or 6 sites in Calhoun County, I saw not a single license plate from a worker from Iowa. Another indication of that pipeline was that there were going to be tons of jobs made available for Iowa workers. And at the end of the pipeline building, there would be many jobs available for Iowa workers. I think it is time, just wondering how many of you grew up on a farm And how many of you would want to see a relative, an elderly relative, refused access to their own land? Iowa State has done studies. When the pipeline goes in, they told the lady who was close to 80 that her son would be dead before the land would be able to produce again. I'm not clear on what this resolution will be that they eventually give to you, but I think it's simply to have Sioux City designated as a city in the state of Iowa that was against the Dakota Access Pipeline. My husband and I strongly believe that...
Need to have you wrap it up real fast.
Well, I just thought because you knew so little background that maybe you'd like, because I've spent months reading up on this, so...
No, I appreciate that. I just want to give everybody a chance to talk.
Okay, well, just know that we're there.
Thank you. Is there anyone to speak on the other side of the issue first? Just a minute, Frank. Is there anyone to speak on the other side? All right, go ahead, Frank.
Mayor Scott, members of the City Council, thank you for providing all of us this opportunity this evening. I'll be as brief as I can, but I sure would like to convey some points I hope you would take into consideration, if not tonight, in the weeks, months, and even years to come. That is, I believe, the importance of the issue that has been brought before you tonight. I will tell you first and foremost that I am Frank Lemire. I am the director of Four Directions Center in Sioux City. I work with the Native community. I reside 600 Pioneer Place in South Sioux City. I'd be remiss if I did not tell you I strongly oppose the Dakota Access Pipeline, first and foremost, so you know where I'm coming from. I would hope that our good members of the council here, like the lady who spoke before, takes the time to really do the best we can to begin to brief ourselves, to help us to understand. And let me be the first to tell you, I do not understand the complexities, the technicalities, of the pipeline, but some things are very clear to me. One of them is the fact I'm understanding that that pipeline, if constructed, would cross 209 bodies of water. You've heard tonight they talk about the Missouri, they talk about the Floyd, they talk about the Big Sioux, but all the tributaries between here and Illinois. That pipeline would have to cross 209 of them. And my sense tells me, perhaps even my age, my experience tells me that we're going to have some problems. And when we have problems, the people who are going to be disaffected are going to be Omahas, Winnebagos, Santees, Dakotas, Iowas, Meskwakis, but also citizens of the state of Iowa, citizens of the state of North Dakota, Nebraska, and citizens of the United States of America. I would hope that at some point, date certain in the future, that this council perhaps take the time, Mr. Mayor, to call on some folks who you would choose yourself and have them brief us or brief you a little bit about the ramifications of not saying anything about that pipeline. I too would hope that Sioux City, Iowa would be the first in the state of Iowa to say, I have concerns. All of us here are here, I'm going to share this. You work in the public trust. Many people trust you. Native people, I'm here, I work in the public trust. Everybody gathered here in this room today also have a trust, and that's a trust to their children and to their grandchildren. And we're talking about water. We're talking about survival. We're talking about the importance of water to our children, our grandchildren, the generations to come. Nobody is looking out for us in that regard. I would ask that the Sioux City Council take the first steps to begin to study that, if you would, Mr. Mayor. And at some point in the future, do come with your own resolution.
All right.
I would share that.
I do need to have you wrap it up, Frank, but I appreciate it. I said I do need to have you wrap it up too, because we're adhering to that rule, but thank you. Appreciate it. Who, I'm assuming I can ask for a hold of hand. hold your hand up if you support what the other speakers have said.
You can still speak. You still got your 3 minutes.
So let me just tell you where council, I'm not gonna speak for the council. Councils rarely bring resolutions that they don't think have an opportunity to be passed, is where I'm gonna put this in. And I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna go lay down in front of a pipeline, because I'm not going to, okay?
Why not?
When I'm talking, I'd like the same courtesy I extended to you, and if you can't give me that, then I'm gonna ask you to leave the chambers. The rest of the people here are being very respectful. I'd expect the same out of you. I personally have a really hard time believing that the Iowa Utility Board had jurisdiction over this particular pipeline. I don't see where it's a public utility by any stretch. And the people that called me today that oppose us taking action on this, I said, you know, if we were to condemn a property in Sioux City for a water line, all of you'd be calling me, telling me I ought to not vote that way. So what's the difference on this pipeline? I personally have a real issue with that. I personally have a real issue when I drove to Ames 2 weeks ago and saw nothing but Utah truck plates and not one Iowa truck plate. If this is so good for Iowa, where are the jobs for Iowans? And you can't make an argument that makes any sense to me when you tell me that this is going to be a boon for Iowa. It may be a few boons for some cafes and hotels along the way, but workers didn't get to work on this. And don't come with one of these projects and tell me how good it's going to be for the state of Iowa unless you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, and that's for jobs. And our governor, who I'll get a phone call from, I'm sure, should have stood up and said, we're going to have jobs for Iowans here, and insisted upon it, but that's not the case, unfortunately. I have a real problem with 150 years, I'm sorry, and I'll get a lot of flack tomorrow for this, but it's the truth, of not honoring agreements with Native Americans. We've violated those agreements, and violated those agreements for a lot of reasons, but this one is so we can be energy independent. Well, we were going to be energy independent with the Alaska pipeline, and most of that goes to China today. So I'm off my soapbox. The chances of this, and in the defense of your council, listen, I'm going to defend them. We historically, as a council, try to be very non-political, and I know that this is very emotional for all of you, but it is political at the same time. And I think we can, or at least some of us, and I think the majority of you, of our council, probably sympathizes with some of the issues here. But to take a resolution is in their defense and in my defense is probably not going to happen. I want you to know that. I think we can all speak individually, and I'm sure now that I've ran my mouth, the others will be asked to speak on camera. They can answer however they want to. But I appreciate you coming. I do appreciate your concerns. And I don't know what the answers are other than there's going to be a pipeline. And I hope that there are lots and lots of safeguards built into that pipeline so that what they tell us is never going to happen doesn't happen, is what I hope. So thank you for coming. Anybody else we heard on an issue other than what we've been talking about?